Hi, I'm Barbara Seelig Brown. Welcome to Stress-Free Cooking. What I want you to do is put on your bunny slippers, pour a glass of wine, and cook a great meal with me. Hi, I'm Barbara Seelig Brown. Welcome to Stress-Free Cooking. Today's show is all about Sunday sauce. So I've invited my dear friend Val Brzezinski, who was born in Puglia in the south of Italy, to come on and talk to me about Sunday sauce, which is very common in the south. And,
it is.
And also to share with me his mother's recipe for braciole, which is one of my absolute favorite dishes.
Me too.
So Val, let's put on our bunny slippers,
you,
let's
Barbara.
have some wine, and
Glad
let's
to be
cook
with you.
some great Sunday sauce.
We'll have fun with you folks at home.
I never had the pleasure of meeting Val's mom, but I have had the pleasure of enjoying many of her wonderful recipes. And in fact, in most of my cookbooks, you'll find at least one or two of her recipes that was shared to me by Val and Lori. So today, Val is going to show me how to make his mom's braciole, which we realized that it was very similar to my grandmother's and my mother's braciole.
There's braciole seems to follow pretty much a standard formula, I think. You take a little meat, you take, again, the most simple of ingredients, just a little salt and pepper, the cheese of your choice, and in this case today we're going to use a sharp provolone because Mom used it and I liked it, but you can use Parmesan.
I oftentimes use Parmigiano. Grana would work. But I like the idea of the provolone. I think that was really the only change between your mother's recipe and my family's recipe.
And we all put a little parsley in there.
Right. But the other thing I've noticed too, as I travel to Italy, that in the north of Italy, sometimes what you get is something called braciole, but it's really just a cutlet. It's not the rolled piece of meat with a little bit of seasoning in it. And that is referred to more as an involtini in the north than in the south it's a braciole.
And I've also heard them referred to as rollatini. And the ingredients kind of change. Instead of perhaps some cheese, they might put some pancetta and roll the pancetta in the middle. But basically, this is the standard classic recipe for braciole.
From the south.
From the south.
But I think that also speaks to the fact that throughout the country of Italy, there are many regions, there's 18 regions, and in each region the food changes dramatically. I think we should get started.
Let's do it.
Okay.
So
we have 2 pieces of beef that we purchased at the grocery store, labeled braciole, but if you don't find that, you just ask for very nice thin sirloin. And you can always pound it if it's not thin enough.
If it's not thin enough, exactly. Very simple, just a little bit of salt and pepper to start. And not a whole lot in this one because the provolone in this case is very salty.
Cheese is generally very salty, so when you're using cheese, you want to cut down a little bit on the salt.
Exactly. And then just a little bit of pepper, and really a braciole is the essence of simplicity. There's really not a whole heck of a lot to it. What we're going to do is we're going to take a little garlic.
How do you want the garlic?
Either sliced thinly or coarsely chopped. In this case, coarsely chopped is probably just as easy. And we're going to spread the garlic around.
Okay.
A little bit in each one of the braciole. For you folks at home, garlic is a very individual thing. A lot of people like a lot of garlic, and some folks don't like any garlic at all. To your taste. We're going to do it kind of medium, moderate garlic. How's that? There we go. So that was essentially, that was 1 clove.
Okay.
And then what we're going to do is we're just going to slice a little bit of the provolone. And you don't have to be fancy here, folks, because it's all going to get broken up and distributed throughout the braciole itself. And again, we've made this with Parmigiano Reggiano. I've put pecorino in there. Whatever cheese you happen to like.
Or happen to have.
Or happen to have.
Because actually that's a lot about what Italian cooking is about. It's whatever you happen to have on hand.
Exactly right. Parsley, the next ingredient. And again, to taste, I happen to like a lot of herbs.
And we're using flat Italian parsley as opposed to the curly. The curly parsley is really more of a breath freshener and a garnish, but the flat Italian parsley has a lot more flavor in it.
Yeah, curly is not worthy in Italian cooking.
So you wouldn't be buying that in the market.
I wouldn't be buying it.
Right,
I don't think you
okay.
could find it in the market in Rome.
Okay.
Folks, simply roll it up at this point. And what my mom used to do was she used to sew these things up very meticulously with thread. The far easier way to do it is just spear it with a couple of toothpicks so that they don't fall apart, and you're done. If you like to use a little butcher's twine, you can do it, but one toothpick will typically hold it together quite nicely.
Right.
And that's it.
And that's actually a lot easier. Toothpicks are a lot easier than tying.
Exactly.
So let's start out. We're going to heat up the olive oil, then we'll add our brajol. Once that's cooked about 90%, we're going to add a little bit of crushed garlic to that. And then we're going to add some crushed tomatoes and our basil, and that's it. And then we just let it simmer. So we could let this cook, go to church, go play tennis, whatever we wanted to do. Come back, and dinner is just about ready.
And Barb, we have plenty of room, so I think I'll just add the sausage in here.
Sure, that's great.
All right?
Sure.
Just,
And we're using hot Italian sausage. You could use sweet, you could use turkey sausage, you could use chicken sausage. There's actually some really good chicken sausages out on the market right now, don't you think?
I found.
We just had some the other day.
We're from Connecticut, and we have a supplier out there that makes one of the most fantastic chicken sausages I've ever tasted. You'd be hard-pressed to think that it's not a pork sausage. There's some good product out there.
Right. And the other thing, too, is you could crush your garlic and just throw a crushed, peeled clove of garlic in here if you'd want to remove the garlic. But I don't mind having the garlic in the pot the whole time that the sauce is cooking, especially because we're cooking it a long time, so it's really going to soften up.
Okay.
Okay, so we're going to brown the meat, then we'll add the garlic and the tomatoes and the basil. Give us a minute to clean up. We'll be right back. So Val, it looks like our meat is nicely browned and ready to go on to the next step. And you know, it's great when you cook and you can hear that sizzle. You can cook with all of your senses. You can hear it, you can smell it, you can see it.
Very
so let's add the garlic.
And that's going to add even more aroma.
So Val, can you grab a spoon and give that a stir?
Okay, we'll do it.
And once that garlic is well mixed in there, it'll be cooked in no time at all.
I can smell it already, so we're ready to go.
And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that spoon from you and pour these tomatoes right over the back of the spoon so that they don't splash all over us.
Great trick.
Okay. And then we'll mix this well. I'm going to add the basil while you stir that for me, if you wouldn't mind.
My wife would really appreciate that little trick because she always has to wash my shirts after I finish cooking.
Yes.
So
yes, we know about you having people clean up after you.
Okay.
It's clear when you cook in my kitchen that you have your lovely wife Lori to clean up after you.
Barb, put the basil in.
So we're going to tear the basil. It's nice fresh basil from the deck. Okay. And if the basil's out of season, just buy fresh basil in the grocery store.
And it's always available these days. There's.
It smells so great.
It's a wonderful
thing. So you want to tear the basil. It retains the color and also the flavor. And basil is something that you don't want to tear, chop, cut, no matter what your method is for making the leaves smaller. You don't want to do that until it's time to put it in the dish or the pot.
Exactly.
Okay? So we have everything in there we need except a little bit of salt and pepper, pinch of salt.
Ready to go.
A few grinds of black pepper. Okay, if you just give that one more stir.
One more coming up.
And then we're just going to let this simmer. So this is going to simmer a couple of hours. What we're going to do now is, while our sauce is simmering, we're going to move on to a great little appetizer. Recently, I was out to dinner in Manhattan with a friend of mine, and I had this really lovely appetizer, very simple. It's late summer here in the Northeast. So we have some fresh figs, and when you buy figs, you want to make sure that they're really soft. So let's get everything ready that we need. We have our figs, we have the prosciutto, some fresh mint from my deck, and also some aged balsamic vinegar. This balsamic vinegar is so syrupy, it's amazing. In fact, Val and Lori came last night to get ready for today, and we enjoyed this dish out by the pool last night. So I'm gonna take one of these figs and cut the stem off and cut it in half. actually. We'll do 2. You can see how beautiful these figs are. These are called tiger figs. I think it's a new variety. I've not seen these
I've
before.
not seen them ever. They're first
They
time here.
are beautiful, aren't
They
they?
are, and it's interesting because they're red on the inside with the tiger
On the outside.
finish on the outside. It's very, very
And that's
visually
usually
appealing.
indicative of a black mission fig.
Yeah, yep. No, this is really a treat. And with that balsamic vinegar, as you treated us with it last night, I was just astounded at how good that is.
So a little bit of prosciutto, and this balsamic vinegar was actually my mother's, and I've had this in my possession about 5 years, so it's really getting old. And that's why we need to use a spoon to get it out of there. So very simply, a piece of prosciutto, a fig, and we're gonna drizzle some of this wonderful aged balsamic on the top. And as I said, we need the spoon because it's so thick it won't come out of the pour spout.
It's almost, it's like, it is a syrup, and it's...
It is, really. Isn't that beautiful?
Oh, boy.
And you can take regular grocery store balsamic and reduce it down to this consistency by putting it in a little sauce pot, bringing it to a boil, and keep your eye on it because it goes to, as my son would say, tar very quickly.
Yeah.
But it's a great way to make your own balsamic drizzle. And of course, you can certainly buy a balsamic glaze in the grocery store now in a squirt bottle.
Yeah, but
if
why
you have
wouldn't
the
you make your
opportunity
own?
to enjoy this true aged balsamic, you really want to. So we're done with the balsamic. Let me put the top on that. And then I have some fresh mint leaves. So I'm just gonna take that beautiful little sprout from the top and put it right on top of the fig.
Beautiful. And the aromas are incredible already. The mix, the blend of the vinegar and the mint is just, it's everywhere, and it's wonderful. Just wonderful.
So, would you do the honors and taste?
Oh, do I have to, really?
Please, please.
Okay.
It's hard work being here at Stress-Free Cooking. Good? Just as you remembered it from last night? So,
But last night wasn't enough. This is...
let's go on to the next part of our meal, which is a great salad. Val, before we go on to this great salad, would you mind salting the water and adding the pasta?
Absolutely.
Because now that we have our pasta sauce, which has simmered for quite a while, we can cook our pasta and then we can complete our menu. So
Coming up.
we're using whole wheat pasta today.
Yep.
I don't always use whole wheat pasta, but with a very strongly flavored sauce, sometimes you don't even notice that it's whole wheat pasta, so it's a good place to use whole wheat pasta.
We use it whenever there's a strong sauce, even with a good pesto sauce, a whole wheat.
Really?
We
I've
use it at
never
home.
done it with pesto.
Yep,
but-
we do.
Yeah, but pesto has a lot of flavors. You have
does.
garlic, you have the cheese, the basil,
Yep.
and also the walnuts. So I'll have
walnuts.
to try that.
Yep.
But whole wheat pasta, if you're using a high quality pasta, is a really good alternative or something to put into your diet every so often. So we're gonna turn that sauce down a little bit. And then we have our ingredients here for the salad. So I have some Belgian endive, which is this really nice teardrop shaped lettuce. And I have a radicchio. These are bitter greens, and they make a really great salad in combination with fresh arugula, and this is baby arugula. So all I'm gonna do here is make a classic tricolore salad and just slice up my endive. And these have been washed and dried. And if you're storing these salad greens, you want to make sure that you dry them very well before you put them away, because wet or damp salad greens become very quickly spoiled salad greens,
Absolutely.
right?
Not a good combination.
Not a good combination. It's the water that's on the greens or the herbs or anything delicate like that that actually spoils it. So a salad spinner is a really good idea, or putting things out on a damp towel and making sure that they're nice and dry. Okay, and
That's gonna be
radicchio
beautiful.
is one of my favorites. I love radicchio.
Well, it also makes a
It's
nice,
beautiful.
colorful presentation.
Look at the
yeah.
colors, how
Very
pretty that is.
Very pretty.
So just a little bit more. And I just want balance in here. So red, white, and green, like the flag.
Just like the flag.
Just like the flag. All right, so let's make just a very simple vinaigrette dressing. So we have a bowl, Here's a whisk for you.
Whisk.
Whisking the dressing together rather than shaking it is always better. So let's start out with the acid for the dressing, which is my mom's red wine vinegar. Okay, and what we're going to do is just season this a little bit with some pepper and some salt. So this is really simple. I can't understand why anybody buys a dressing in a bottle.
Store-bought dressing. Like store-bought sauce, quite honestly, but
yes,
that's a whole nother story.
Okay. All right, and then I have a wonderful extra virgin olive oil from Italy that I've been saving for special salad dressing. So you start whisking and I'll add, okay? This vinaigrette is going to be about 1 to 2 parts because we have a really good quality vinegar and a really high quality extra virgin olive oil.
Boy, that vinegar is really...
Isn't this beautiful?
Wow.
The color of this,
It's a lovely
or
thing.
the oil, I was thinking the oil, the color of this oil is amazing.
The color, the
if
oil,
you look at
yes.
the color of that oil, it is beautiful,
It's as
isn't
green
it?
as green can be.
And this is a Tuscan olive oil, and it's part of the Tuscan table, which is olive oil, honey, prosciutto, and cheese. So that looks great, but let's give it a taste. You know what, just one little finger.
Your
will work.
taste.
Perfect. Okay, that's great. That's ready to go. Let's
Okay.
dress the salad. And I like to start by adding as little dressing as possible and tossing the salad. You can always add more dressing, but you really can't take it away. And when you're using an extra virgin olive oil that's of such high quality, you don't want it sitting in the bottom of the bowl.
Exactly.
Okay, let's add a little more. Now, you don't want the salad swimming in the dressing. You just want it to cling lightly to the leaves.
Looks great, Barb.
Do you want to give it a taste?
Oh, absolutely. I'll go for the red stuff.
Perfect.
Well,
Just
there.
the right amount of dressing. We'll just save this dressing for another day.
Sounds good.
So, all
Yummy.
right. Let's clean up and we're going to come back and we'll plate our pasta. So Val, I think our pasta's cooked.
I think it is.
Okay.
I think it's ready to be
It's
drained.
al dente to the tooth.
Absolutely.
Okay. So why don't we save a little bit of that pasta cooking water in that pitcher?
Okay, let's
Okay.
do that.
And just in case we need it. And would you mind draining the pasta for me?
My pleasure.
Okay. And I'm going to take a peek at the sauce, actually. And it looks beautiful. It smells beautiful. Okay. Everything is nice and tender. Okay. So Val's going to come back with our pasta. We're going to put it in a nice big serving bowl. Something else you can do, you could put the serving bowl on top of the boiling pasta water to warm the serving bowl. It's a nice touch if you want to keep things nice and warm. That looks beautiful. So that's our whole wheat fusilli. Now I just want to move this closer so I don't carry sauce across my kitchen counter. My mother always used to take a little bit of the sauce and stir it through the pasta. It would give a nice flavor to the pasta, plus it would keep the pasta from sticking together.
And actually, my mom, before she would put the pasta in the bowl, she would take a layer of sauce and put it on the bottom.
And that's another thing that you could do
Yep.
too. Remember
it
that
well.
meal we had in Turin?
Oh, boy.
I mean, that thing went on for 4 hours.
We went to a place, they call it an agriturismo, which is really a tourist, an inn in the woods. This was in the mountains, and we went with a bunch of family. They went on and on and on with course after course after course.
I mean, we were just like,
You couldn't move.
even us as cooks and people who love to eat so much, we were absolutely astounded. So now, one of the other things that you could do with this is put some cheese on the table and pass the grater around. I never grate my cheese in advance. Always put the cheese on a plate on the table with the grater and let people grate their own. But something else that's really, really fun to do.
It is fun to do, and
You can do the honors.
You've reminded me of something that that is very traditional in an Italian house. When you're doing a red tomato sauce and you're having pasta, you have to have a little bread on the side, because at the end of the meal, when you've got that pasta or the sauce around that you just can't leave if you don't have enough pasta, you take a nice chunk of bread, you dip it in the sauce, and that is called scarpetta.
The slipper.
The
shoe.
slipper, there you go, the shoe.
The shoe.
And you dip it in the sauce, and it's the most wonderful thing, because by the time you get to the end of the meal, you've got the cheese in there, and it's
Right.
all of the flavors
And it
have
cleans the
melded.
plate.
Oh.
We like being members of the Clean Plate
Clean
Club.
Plate Club, absolutely.
So-
And that's, hey Barb, you make a mean
How was our
pasta
sauce?
Oh,
Good?
it's outstanding.
Are you going to share this with me?
You can have your own. I was kind of hoping to be able to take some of it just for myself, but
Great.
delicious.
I love the flavor of the sauce. Nice and fresh.
Very good.
So now that we have tasted the sauce, let's actually come back here and let's taste our braciole.
to
Now
that
I'm going to move
braciole.
this over here so I can cut
There you
into
go.
this.
Careful for the toothpick.
Yep, careful for the toothpick.
Got to remember to take your toothpick out.
Yep. Now that looks beautiful. Look at the herbs and the cheese. It looks great. And I see you have your fork, so
I'm ready to go.
Okay, so let's give it a taste. This is amazing. Thank you. That looks gorgeous.
Delicious. Very nice. Very nice.
One of my absolute favorite things in the world. All right, Val, I hate to give up eating this beautiful pasta,
Shucks.
but I think we want to go on and do something really quick, a little special treat for dessert.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's do it.
Be right back. So Italians generally don't have very big, gooey, goopy desserts, which is something that I love. And I know that you and I have had this dessert many times.
Many times.
And it's so simple and so refreshing
Yep.
and just a fun thing to do. And of course, you don't have to heat up your oven in the summer, so that's a great thing. So peaches in red wine, very traditional.
Very
and
traditional.
also
For me, very nostalgic because any summer meal that you would have at my mom's house, if it was a late summer meal, it was going to have a peaches and wine dessert.
or at least some kind of peaches, I'm sure.
some kind of
because
peaches.
Italians eat very seasonally.
Yes.
Which
indeed.
is really a wonderful thing to
a
do.
wonderful thing.
Yeah.
But Mom, my recollection of Mom would she would take the peach and she would be very carefully taking the peel off. That's the best part as far as I'm concerned. So Mom,
You know
sorry.
I hate the skin.
Yeah, you do.
Yes,
I'm
but
sorry.
that's okay.
But we're going to do it with the skin because and this peach
And you're
is
cutting this just like the typical traditional old Italian lady would cut it, right?
exactly. You don't want to make this look too foo-foo.
Right.
You're
You
going to
just-
just do it a rustic way.
Yep.
You're going to make it in as bite-sized pieces as you
can.
And this peach actually,
This
Barb,
peach looks beautiful.
it's beautiful. It looks like if
Well, and part of the reason this is so good is because it's a seasonal peach. It's a locally
There-
grown
there you
peach.
go.
It's in season.
always the way to go. And if you had done the cutting, I'm sure that you would have easily taken the skin off
I
of
would
this.
have.
But that's a sin to put the
But
skin.
that's okay because
Okay.
you know it just proves the point that everybody likes things a certain way,
little
and
bit
when it's your
different.
kitchen, you're cooking at home, you do it the way you want. Here, I'll tell you what, I'm going to give you that.
Okay. And the ingredients are peaches and wine.
And red wine, a nice dry red wine,
Nice dry wood-
light red wine.
Yes.
I mean, you could do this in white wine. I've actually done this in white wine just because.
Actually, I've never done it in a white wine. I'm going to try it now.
Yeah,
that you
it's fine.
mention
It really
So-
works very well.
So the other thing that I do at home, folks, is if I know that I'm going to have a bit of company, and this is going to be more than just a family dessert, I will usually cut up my peaches ahead of time
And put them in the
and
wine
let them
and let
sit
it
and
sit.
marinate in the wine for a little bit.
Right,
it
and
just-
that really is a great way to do it. I mean, make the dessert early in the day, because of course, when you're entertaining, one of the best things you can do is do everything ahead.
Exactly.
So this is a perfect, simple, quick, stress-free do-ahead dessert. Why don't you grab those tasting forks, and we'll give it a taste. And I want you to tell me. Why don't you describe the flavor of this to me when you taste it?
Okay,
All right.
let me see.
Oh my God, that's so good. I love it, and of course, even better when it's been sitting and macerating all day.
Hands down, that's the best peach of the season that I've had.
Is it really?
Oh, it's wonderful.
Well, it's locally grown, it's from the farmer's market, and it also makes me realize how important it is for us to buy local when we can.
Exactly.
Val, I can't thank you enough for coming on once again and teaching me some great recipes from
I've
your
learned
mom.
a lot more from you than you've learned from me. There's no doubt about that. Thank you for having me. It's
I
been
hope
a joy.
you'll come again, and I hope you'll come
Absolutely.
again and cook with me, even if it's not on the air.
Whenever you want.
Okay.
We're together.
Thank you very much for joining me on Stress Free Cooking. I'll see you next time.
Buon appetito.